بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى الدين. Today it is two parts. One part is the way Salaf al they received or they behaved in the month of Ramadan. The other part I will be distributing schedules or timetable to set your goals in Ramadan. You can fill them up. So I have pencils and I have samples, and we also give the sisters. I have copy for the sisters. If Ramadan, I will share with you some points about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, some of his companions, and the words of the ulama about how they lived in Ramadan. Hopefully, such short examples and stories they can fit in your mind, because I believe if the information comes in a situation, you will never forget rather just information by itself. الإمام أحمد في مسنده عن واثر بن الأسقع عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال, the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, the scriptures of Sayyidina Ibrahim were revealed, the book for the Prophet Ibrahim were revealed in the first night of Ramadan. The Torah, this is where the Jews, the book of the Jews, was revealed 6th of Ramadan. The Bible was revealed, yes, on the 13th of Ramadan. And the Quran was revealed on the 24th of Ramadan. So all of the books, the 4 books, Kutub al-Samawiyya, they were all revealed in the month of Ramadan. وعن ابن عباس قال كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, he was very generous in Ramadan, especially when he had to review his Quran with Jibreel. So he met Jibreel every night of Ramadan to study Quran with Jibreel. It shows you how important the power of Ramadan by itself, in the power of Quran by itself in the month of Ramadan. Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali said in Hadith Ibn Abbas of what the Prophet, he elaborates, when the Prophet Muhammad was studying the Quran with Jibreel, it is liked to increase reading Quran in Ramadan, especially at night, because at night there is less distraction, and at night the tongue and the heart, they connect with each other, and therefore they can benefit more from the Quran, especially during night time. And it is in the Quran, Surah Al-Muzaini, إِنَّ نَاشِئَةَ اللَّيْلِ هِيَ أَشَدُّ وَطْئًا وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا. The night is the best time where you synchronize with the Quran, especially in the month of Ramadan. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Allah said, the month of Ramadan, it is the month where the Quran has been revealed. So notice how important your communication and connection with the Quran should not be something just passes away, because it unleashes the power. Look at the Prophet ﷺ in Ramadan. He used to read the Quran when he makes tahajjud at night, more than anybody else. In one night he prayed with Hudayfa in the night of Ramadan. He started with Surah Al-Baqarah, and then Nisa, and then Al-Imran. And notice one thing. This is one of the practices that the Prophet Muhammad used to do. لا يمر بآية تخويف إلا وقف وسأل. Whenever he reads a verse of the Quran that has a scary thing about the hereafter or something, he would pause and ask Allah Almighty for protection. The same thing follows if it's Jannah, you know. If something Allah mentions about Jannah, you pause and you ask Allah Almighty Jannah, and then you continue. So this means there's a reaction on your part whenever you reach a situation where Allah if it's a verse regarding mercy, you stop and ask Allah for mercy. If it is hellfire, oh Allah, spare us from hell. If it is Jannah, you pause, Allah give you the Jannah. This increases the interaction with the Quran. So the Prophet Muhammad kept on doing the same thing until Bilal came to him to ask permission to call Salat al-Fajr. This means throughout the night the Prophet Muhammad was praying. See how our forefathers in Ramadan behaved. كان قتادة رضي الله عنه, he dedicates the entire month of Ramadan for Quran and studying Quran. Not just reading, but studying Quran. This means in Ramadan your only book is Quran, reading and studying. Imam Zahri, when the month of Ramadan comes, he said Ramadan is the month of reading Quran and feeding people for iftar. Ibn Abd al-Hakam said, when Imam Malik in the month of Ramadan comes, he's a scholar and he teaches Imam Malik, he would stop the teaching and sitting with scholars and he focuses on reading the Quran from reading the Quran. So he stops all of the other sciences that he teaches throughout the year, hadith and so forth, and dedicates it himself in reading it in the month of Ramadan. Leave all of the books and focus on Quran. كان سفيان الثوري, when the month of Ramadan comes in, he leaves all types of worship, not the prayer, other activities that are good, and he focuses on reading the Quran. Imam Ibn Rajab said that our forefathers, Salaf Salih, they read the Quran in the month of Ramadan in their prayer. This means they do two khatmas, those who memorize the Quran. There is one when they are praying the Quran, yes, tilawat the Quran, and the one that they read, like the mosque where we pray in our Imam of the Masjid, for example, in Salat Tarawih and Qiyam, he starts from the beginning till the end of the Quran, and we ourselves at home or in the Masjid, we read, so there are two of them. And by the way, listening to Quran, also in the month of Ramadan, you are rewarded. So there are times that are lost. Let's say you are driving from place to another. Have the Quran run and listen to it. So your meter of good deeds does not stop. At the same time, before you sleep, you can put the Quran on and let it run. If you have a CD, start your khatma of listening khatma. You have one that you pray behind the Imam, the second one as you read, the third one as you listen, as you drive. And if you can't, with the traffic jams, you do finish a lot of the Quran. So your meter of Hasanat Ramadan are multiplied by just listening. Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali said, although there is nahi, it is not like that you finish the Quran in less than 3 days. But in seasons of high reward, like the month of Ramadan, especially there is Laylat al-Qadr, that rule is avoided. Since it is a season of abundance and the reward is so high, if you can finish it in less than 3 days and have more Quran to be read, go ahead and read it. Because the opportunity is short for one month, so you maximize your performance. And Ibn Wahb, he said to the Ukht Malik, Imam Malik, what does Imam Malik do in his home in Ramadan? She said, he has the Quran and he sits to read Quran. كان يحيى بن سعيد القطان used to finish the Quran, and when he finishes the Quran, he would pray dua for 1,000 people. That he has a list of people, and he makes dua asking Allah Almighty, giving these 1,000 people that he knows, the blessing, and he has a list of people whom he prays for. قال البغوي أخبرت عن جدي أحمد. البغوي said about his grandfather, he said, from last 40 years I complete the Quran every 3 days. It's a habit for some people to finish the Quran in 3 days. Imam Hamza bin Habib al-Zayyad, he said, I looked into the Quran. I looked into it so much, I read it and look into it, that I thought that one day I might lose my eyesight from staring at the Quran. Imam al-Nawawi, in his book At-Tibyan fi Adab Hamalat al-Quran, about the behaviors of those who read and carry the Quran in their heart, he said, you should make sure that it's a habit of reading the Quran. And our forefathers, the Salaf, each one has a different performance than the other. Some of them, they used to finish the Quran in 2 months. Some of them every month. Some of them every 10 nights. Some of them every 8 nights. Others every 7 nights. 6, 5, 4, 3. Some of them in 2 nights. And some of them in 1 night. So therefore, it differs from one person to another. So there is no one that based on your capacity. Also, Imam al-Nawawi said, it is different from one person to another. Now you have to make sure, if a person, why he explains now, why do you see people finishing fast or slow? He says it is different from one person to another based on their understanding and perception and the focus on the Quran. Some people make sure that they understand fully what they read. And therefore, especially if they teach, these people, it requires more time for them to read, and they are slower than others because he wants to get the meanings out in order to teach other people. So therefore, it requires for him to understand to slow down, because he is teaching other people and he's in charge of other people. That person or scholar who is reading the Quran, he could be a judge or somebody else during the daytime. So he does not have the time to the full performance of reading the Quran because he has other duties during the daytime where he is a judge or he has something to do with Muslims. Therefore, that does not mean that he is neglecting the Quran more. He has to learn from it and to perform based on it on the next day. قال كعب ينادى يوم Ka'b, he said, on the day of judgment, there is a caller who would call every person to get rewarded. Except people of Quran and fasting, they get their rewards unlimited. Other activities, there is a value for rewards. But fasting and Quran, the reward is unlimited. And they are your defender in front of Allah Almighty to protect you from hellfire. That is based on the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abdullah ibn Amr and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال الصيام والقيام يشفعان للعبد يوم القيامة يقول الصيام أي ربي منعته الطعام والشراب بالنهار ويقول القرآن منعته النوم بالنهار فيشفعني فيه فيشفعان. صيام and قيام, Siyam and Qiyam al-Tahajjud, they are your protection on the day of judgment. They will stand on your behalf just like lawyers, so to speak. The Siyam would say to Allah, "O Allah Almighty, I have prevented him from eating and drinking during the day." And the Quran says, "O Allah, I have prevented him from sleeping. Therefore, I am his protector to spare him from hellfire." قال ابن مسعود رضي الله عنه, the reader of the Quran should be known by the night when people are sleeping, and during the day when people are eating, and when he cries when people are laughing, and the fear from doing haram when people do not fear doing haram, and being quiet when people are talking about everything, and being fearful of Allah, or when people start backbiting each other, and the sadness when people are happy. Muhammad ibn Ka'b said, "We used to identify the reader of the Quran by his pale face due to the long nights that he had stayed awake and reading the Quran." Wahb ibn al-Ward said, it said to a man, "How come you don't get sleepy at night?" He said, "I cannot sleep because of the miracles that are in the words of the Quran that had really made my sleep disappear." Ahmed ibn al-Hawari, he said, "I would read the Quran and I look at one verse in the Quran, it takes my mind away, it blows my mind away. I cannot imagine how much that single verse had so much meaning in it." وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Now the other part tonight, I need somebody to help me with the distribution. Can someone access to the sisters also? Okay. We have sisters, we have a schedule, and each page has 1 or 2 and 3. I think we have enough copies. This is just to show you. This is number 1, number 2, and 3 different schedules. Now I'll leave these here. Here is number 3. Give the people, and then there is number 2. Let's separate them. 3, 3, 3, 3. This is 2. The number 2. Here is number 2. And number 3. They are this is all one kind. And this is number 3, this is separate. And number 1, yes. Give each one. And to the sisters also. And here are pencils, so we do some... yes. So you have 3 pages, 1, 2, and 3. We'll start with page 1. And the extra copies give it to our sisters. And give them some pencils if they don't have any pens. I have them here. And take some pens for the sisters. This is a schedule to help you set your target in the month of Ramadan. It is in Arabic and we'll go over it in the translation. Is there enough for the sisters? Yeah, good. You need pencils for them? Do you have anybody who wants a pen? For the sisters, you want to give them? 11? I don't know, whatever pens I have, I will give you. Here's one more. Okay. You will have, first of all, you have the page number 1, as you can see it here. Some of you, do you understand Arabic or can you read Arabic? Okay, very good. And then there is page number 2 and page number 3. They are all basically schedules that helps you organize yourself in the month of Ramadan. And you could set your goals in it. We will practice some things here. You might say, okay, there is 1, there is 2 and 3, what's the difference? They all are the same, more or like, but some of them have more targets to be checked. So what you can do also is you can it might remind you some things you can move and put, or something here you can move and put, whichever sample you, and I will give the Rafiq on my phone a copy. You can put it on the ICK and they can print anyone they like. Okay. The sisters, did they get, or he just went there?
Just going.
Yeah. The first one, as you can see, it's okay, I'll just explain why they get them. The first one is, which is number 1 here. It is quite simple. It is designed into squares. And you can see it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And basically, you write within your goals. The second one, I will take some time for the sisters. So. The second one is a different style. It has the goals written on one part, and there is a checklist for you to evaluate yourself what you have finished in the month of Ramadan. And this way, keeping track of what you are doing, puts a pressure on you to perform. If you're staying behind where you can push yourself a little bit, or you're slowing down and so forth. The good thing about this one, it has more details of items you can transpose into the first one, or vice versa. You might find something here, vice versa, you can move it there. The third one is also have other goals similar to the second one, but less goals required. So it all depends on the individual. Based on how busy you are, you could select the one you want. We'll go to the first page. The sisters, they got the...
Yeah, you got it.
Good. Okay. Number one is the Masjid. Which prayers I will pray Jama'ah in the first line? This is the catch. This means what? You have to come early and to be in the first row. You said which ones? From now you say, this prayer I am going, this or that prayer, I want to make sure I am in the first row. That pushes you to come early and be on the first row.
No, in Ramadan it's very difficult.
Well, it's subject to the individual. You cannot, it's difficult for you, maybe it's easy for me.
No. In the Ramadan, the first, in Fajr time, you go how much early, it's full.
Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib. But it's not
That's
all of them.
Which one you want?
Which one you want, not all of them. Which one? Which one of the salawat I will pray the first one? You would say Fajr, I would say Maghrib, you might say Asr. Okay?
Zuhr and Asr.
Whatever. You write it down and you have it in mind. Okay? The second one, for example, Quran. My plan, the time when you will be reading the Quran. The second one is, the pen is new, so just remove there is some wax on the tip. With your finger, yeah. The Quran here, he said, my plan in terms of time. What time am I going to read the Quran? And what time am I going to listen to Quran? You remember I told you about the hikmah of listening? So that you have to keep in mind. For me, for example, I drive every day, for example, from my house to work, it takes me half an hour. So this means from this time till this time and back another half an hour. So these half and half. And what I will do, I will get a khatm of the Quran, and therefore I can finish one khatm of a listening khatm. The third point, this is optional. Any questions or?
No, which are the 3 lines here?
Yeah, of the 3 lines as I explained.
Quran.
One of them is time.
Read.
Sorry?
Time to read.
Yes, the time to read, time to listen. And the third one is material that helps me understand the Quran. Either tafsir or a book about. This is for you, optional if you want a book about some teachings of the Quran. Now, point number 3 is i'tikaf. I'tikaf, as you all know, is basically you decide once you go to the masjid to stay for a certain period of time. to stay in the masjid and read the Quran, but you dedicate that time, you are in the masjid. Half an hour, 1 hour between Asr and, So we set the place if there is a certain masjid in mind, and the tajheez requirement, I'll bring my book or Quran or a book, Quran study, whatever, of the setting time of i'tikaf. It doesn't have to be a prayer time. Sometimes there is a gap between Dhuhr and Asr. You want to go at a certain time, half an hour, then go home, But, dedicating yourself to stay in the masjid and focusing on remembering Allah. 4, sadaqah. To some families, in order to be a shared experience, they put a coin box in the house. So this is our charity, family charity box in the house. And every day we put something. So sadaqah on daily basis. It's the first one is where the charity box is and how much you want to contribute every day. As I said to you, the amount is not important, more the practice of discipline. And if there is an amount, it is. And also the fourth category is on the 10 Ashr al-Awakhir. The last 10 days of Ramadan, also rewards are maximized, so therefore it requires more giving. So the last 10 days of Ramadan. Number 5, Salat al-Taraweeh. Where am I going to pray Taraweeh? You don't just waste your time, you don't know where to go and you discover this masjid is not finishing Quran, this has khatta, this has overcrowded, you dedicate yourself to where you want to pray Taraweeh. Also here says the days where my family and children will join me for Taraweeh. If they join you, there's no problem. To some people, that situation, you have to dedicate a day where the whole family comes to the masjid and pray Taraweeh. Number 6, al-dhikr wal-fikr. Of course, Adhkar al-Sabah and Adhkar al-Masa. You know what they are, huh?
Morning and evening.
The morning and evening supplications. They are available. Shah Afasi has done it well. You find it on YouTube. You could just repeat after him on daily basis. And the second point, al-Maqdar al-Yawmi lil-dhikr al-Mutlaq. The dhikr al-Mutlaq, this unended or endless dhikr. Subhanallah, 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 mutlaq means it is endless, okay? How much do you, some people use the small meter so they can figure out how 1,000 subhanallah, 2,000 la ilaha illallah, 1,000 Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So you calculate and know how much. So you set the target for the ongoing dhikr. 1,000, 100, 2,000, 25,000, you put the number. And the other 2 points in the same category, number 6, the time and the place. If there is a certain time, you can write it down, or certain place. You might say, well, I'm driving, if you're exercising, you're a person who walks, for example, while walking, if you're required to do that. Number 7, Qiyam al-Layl. That is basically, the first point is waqt al-istiqaat qabl al-fajr. What time do I wish to wake up before Salat al-Fajr? We have suhoor, right? So basically, before suhoor time, you pray 2 rak'ahs, 2 or 4 or 6. This is Qiyam al-Layl. So, you set the time that you will wake up. You have the table, you can say 15 minutes before Adhan Fajr, 20 minutes before, because you want to pray, then you might have your suhoor or otherwise. And the other point is that helpful tools. This means setting the alarm. I will let my wife wake me up, or I'll have my neighbor call me, or we will have a shared activity. This is number 7. Number 8, the wife and the children. In some places, in some countries also, I don't know we have this in Kuwait or not. They set aside a certain part of the house as the masjid, a certain corner. They put a carpet and it looks like a small masjid, and there is the Quran holders and so forth. And the mother prays in that area and the girls pray in that area. That location in the house is considered as a corner, is the corner where the Quran, or it is the Islamic corner. And if they pray Jama'ah, it is in that corner. And when the children, they are very young, they see their parents praying the Sunnah, or before going to Masjid fi Zaman, or the mother praying there the prayers, they know this is the place of where we pray, the family prays there. So the location of that prayer area, the time I sit with my family. In reality, we have to set aside that the family sits together and review the virtues of the month of Ramadan. How much time you set it up? 10, 15, 20 minutes on daily basis, or day and every other day, to remember certain aspects of fasting and Ramadan. So it does not just become a habit. Not for the grown-ups, but those in the children there. The program title, a replacement in case if I'm not there, who would take over my place? This is point number 8. Number 9, ad-da'wa ila Allah. Propagating Islam. This can take different types of forms. In communities, other places, you might send booklets about Islam, or some communities in non-Muslim areas, they send a small food or sweets with Happy Ramadan, or especially to non-Muslims, they know that we're sweets, or we're celebrating as a form of da'wah, so to speak. If you have targeted individuals, you write them down here, and the method. I will start with so, and the method so. The neighbor so and so, they are good but they are not Muslims, I will send her a package of that type. Number 10. This is my private plan. Whereas for my cousins, family members who are, so whether they're close or distant family members, I wish to communicate with them or reach out to them or congratulate them in the month of Ramadan. You write it down so at least you can send messages or call. Also, any charitable activities you have in mind. Do you wish to distribute food? Do you wish to go by the refrigerators that are in the neighborhood? You put bottles of water. You drive by, I've seen it where they drive by these gas stations, and before iftar time, they give them a package of, a sandwich and other items there and so forth. Underneath, between brackets, أحب الأعمال الله أدومها وإن قل. The most loved activities Allah wants is that it's continuous, although it is less or small. The last point is dua. The dua, several categories. The first one, yourself. The second one is the family. The third one is the friends. The fourth one is Muslims. The fifth one is the timing for this life and the hereafter. What you want in this life and what you aspire to have.
Can you repeat again?
Okay, the first one for you, myself. Second one, my family. Third one, my friends. Fourth one, to the rest of the Muslim world. The fifth point is for the dunya and the hereafter. For this, oh Allah Almighty, give Muslims who are living in desperation, or this part of the Muslim, sorry. For myself, oh Allah Almighty, give me peace and prosperity and the fear from you in order to win, and let me see, myself becoming a for this dunya, whatever you want in this dunya, and what are goals and aspirations for the hereafter. These are the 11 points of the first program. Okay, 5 minutes left. The other one, I will go over it very easily. Schedule number 2. Al-A'mal, this bracket called A'mal, the first one, is the prayers in the masjid. As you see, Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and you tick. This is good for children, they know.
Is it a checklist like?
It's a checklist. It is, yes. It's a checklist more than writing. The first one is writing. The other category is in Nawafil, the Sunnah before and after prayers, Duha, Qiyam al-Layl, Witr. The third one is Quran, one part every day, one juz every day. And the second subcategory is memorization or review of the Quran. The third point is Adhkar. Adhkar al-Sabah, check. Adhkar al-Masa, check. Adhkar Khitam al-Salat. After finishing the prayer, you have to do the tasbih and so forth. This is also a check mark. This was not mentioned before. And also another point, it's important, الاستغفار والصلاة على النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. In the prayer, in the Adhkar, istighfar and the salat on the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم. The category after is al-mu'amala, behavior. First of all, towards your parents. Did you treat them well? What was your action towards your parents? The first point. The second one, towards the family, your behavior. Was it positive behavior? You have to do it. Amal al-qalb, the category afterwards. Making sure your intention is for the sake of Allah Almighty. Are you following this? Here, Amal al-qalb.
Amal al-qalb.
Amal al-qalb, the spiritual actions, the heart, which means niyyah, the intention. Making sure that everything you do is the intention for the sake of Allah. It's a reminder, I am fasting for the sake of Allah. I am doing this for the sake of Allah. I am giving for the sake of Allah. You remember the reward and you keep it in mind. The second thing, at-tawakkul wal-yaqeen billah. Relying on Allah Almighty and having no doubt about Allah Almighty will give you whatever you want. So the sense that Allah will give you. The positive sense that Allah is there to give you and will give you what you wish. Another point, ad-du'a bi-qalb al-khasha. Was your dua focused with a heart that is believing on it or just something you just read? In my dua today, was I sincere in what I asked? I'm just saying like this, watching. Or was I focused or not? So basically, focus on dua. That's what we can call this point. The other point is al-khushu' fi salat. In my prayers today, was I also focused in salat? Or no, I would give myself, X or half a check or 0. Today I'm not focused on salat. And then, amal al-jawarih, the point before the last. First of all, eyesight. Did it see something wrong or I protected from seeing something that is wrong? The other point is my tongue. Yes.
What is the meaning of this? The category?
Amal al-jawarih.
Yeah.
The actions of my senses, the protection of my senses, eyesight, tongue, and also performance of tasks and studying. If you work somewhere or something like that, you make sure that whether your homework you do it right, your action you do it right, and your study is right. The last point, that's the square at the bottom, A'mal al-Usbu'. This is the weekly activity. It gives you reminders that you also transpose these points. Iftar Sa'im, how many people did I support in breaking their fast? Sadaqat al-Sir, did I give a charity without anybody knowing, my family? This is very important, that no one knows about. Hudur Durus Ilm, how many lectures or did I sit and listen? Because there are sometimes lectures and seminars in the masjid. Have I attended? This is a weekly target, once a week. Silat Rahim wa Tazawur, did I reach out to any of my relatives or visited some of my relatives or friends? Was any visit? This is the weekly visit. weekly visiting of the sick. Have I visited a sick person during the week? If I've done, you check. Did I go to the janazah, al-maqbara, to pray janazah? Nowadays, it's a big mosque, you can pray. If you want to go inside the cemetery, you get double the reward, or just pray and leave. Al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy al-munkar. Was I able to correct someone's behavior and tell him, this is right, this is wrong? Did I practice this thing? And here it says, i'tikaf laylatain. This is i'tikaf in the last 10 nights. Some people, they use the weekend to have their i'tikaf in the masjid because of work and so forth. So these are pointers in the checklist. You could either move them around in the first or the second one. The third one is almost similar to all. I'll just finish it quickly. Adhkar istiqaf. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you say when you wake up? Make it a habit. See what the Prophet Muhammad says once he wakes up from his sleep. Keep it next to your bed. You wake up, you read it, so it becomes a habit. Prayer on time. Daily Quran to be read. That is point the third category. The fourth one, adhkar, morning and night supplications. The fifth one, al-bina al-ilmi, reading an Islamic book or listening to a lecture. This also can be a goal if you can use it. The point after, ad-da'wah, propagating what you have learned even with an ayah. Last week somebody did the same to me. In the masjid, he said, come, I want to tell you something. He said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, whoever says that, he is going to heaven in Jannah. I just wanted to make sure that I say it to you, so we both get rewarded as a reminder. And he left. Simple. I know him and he knows me. I was outside in my car. He came, he said, I want to read to you the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And here I did. Thank you very much. You start with the people you know. So anything you learn there. الدعوة بما تعلم. قيام الليل, as we said, for Salat al-Tahajjud, الدعاء للمسلمين, we've said it before. أذكار النوم, sleeping supplications. What the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dua he read before going to sleep. You don't just switch off like a TV set or a mobile. There is something to read, certain verses, something dua. Make it a habit, read it, and then go to bed. Adhkar al-Nawm, Jalsat al-Duha, which is basically Rakatay al-Duha, which is after al-Shuruq. No, Jalsat al-Duha is the time between Salat al-Fajr and the sunrise, where you stay in the masjid, read Quran or do dhikr, and once 15 minutes after sunrise you pray 2 rak'ahs. This is equal to Hajj and Umrah, complete, as what the Prophet Muhammad said. Many of us, you work or something is difficult, people take advantage of weekend. Fridays and Saturdays, they sit in the masjid, it's 45, 1 hour, is it? 45 hours. I noticed some people to avoid, falling asleep. He walks around in the masjid, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or sometimes holding a Quran and he reads. While it's almost like an exercise, especially if they become a masjid. They take rounds and they go in a circle and start reading the Quran in order to stay on.
Regarding this hadith, is it like you have to sit at one place only, or what is it like?
What? Salat Jalsat al-Duha?
Shuru.
No, as I told you, some people sit.
They walk.
Some people walk. But you confine yourself to the masjid.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You could sit if you are able to focus while sitting, fine. If you do while walking,
but if you sit in the same place, it's more rewarding.
MashaAllah, this is in the normal prayers, the hadith is obvious. Don't move, stay in your place and finish what as though you are sitting, the angels, they are praying for you. They leave as you move and go somewhere else. So people rush sometimes they're busy with something else. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وسلم. أسأل الله عز وجل, أسأل Allah Almighty to bless us in this meeting and to give us the opportunity that this Ramadan to be an exceptional Ramadan for all of us, where we can get all our goals achieved and to become totally different, better person in our relationship with Allah Almighty. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير. Thank you for listening, brothers and sisters.